Welcome to my channel. I'm Cece with When Green Pea. Most of the videos that I make are talking about plants that I think you should consider for your collection or plants that are on my personal wish list. Today's video is a little different. Today, I'm going to reveal a list of plants that I will never, ever, under any circumstances, ever purchase to have in my home. I have a large collection of plants, and I have quite a wish list of plants as well. But as I've gotten further along in my plant collecting, I have just discovered that there are some plants that don't work for me, for my care practices, for my home environment, or for what I'm willing to do to make that plant thrive. Now, the plants that are on my list aren't bad plants. There really are no bad plants. They're just plants that I would not have for my own home, nor would I recommend for most people. So I want to know if you disagree, if you have one of these plants that are on my list and it's doing quite well, tell me about it in the comments below. Now let's get to the list. The first plant on my list of plants that I will never buy again are Calathea. I think Calathea are beautiful. They're stunning plants. They're just not plants that I can make happy. They need a tremendous amount of humidity in order to keep the leaves from turning crispy and to keep it thriving and growing well. I just haven't had success with them, and I can't provide a lot of humidity. I live in a really dry environment, and I'm not great about refilling my humidifiers. Here's the caveat. The only Calathea that I have been able to keep happy personally and that I would broadly recommend is the rattlesnake Calathea. I love this plant. I think it's beautiful. I love the foliage, the colors, the variegation on the front and the purple on the back. And surprisingly, this plant has been really healthy and has had just a tiny bit of browning on the tips of the leaves. I'm happy with how this plant looks. He lives in my bathroom, which is the place in my house that has the absolute highest humidity, and that's where I will keep him. I just don't have room in my bathroom for more Calathea. So Calathea is on my do not buy list. The second plant on my list is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, and it's the cactus. Now, cactus appreciate a dry environment, but they also want a lot of sunshine. I have spaces in my home that provide that amount of light. Those spaces are at a premium, and I'm just not that fond of the form or the look of most cactus. I have a few cactus, and they're fine. They just don't make me happy. They don't bring me joy. So I'm not going to buy any more cactus. Case in point, when I was getting ready to film this video, I actually dropped this plant. The cactus fell out on the floor, and I was like, how do I even pick that thing up and put it back in its pot? It kind of scares me too. Cactus are on my do not buy list. Plant number 3 on my list of plants not to buy is the Croton. And I kind of hate putting that plant on the list simply because it's sort of low-hanging fruit. People love to hate on Croton. I have had one. I think they're very interesting looking plants. They have a lot of color and interesting variegation. They're also very needy plants. They want a lot of light. They don't want to dry out, and they tend to get spider mites. They're just kind of challenging plants. I had a Croton and I gave it away. Croton on my do not buy list. The fourth plant that I'm not going to buy to have in my home is a fern. A fern wants a lot of humidity. They want low filtered light. They want really ideal circumstances in order to thrive. And they just look really sad when they aren't thriving. They let you know in no uncertain terms that you are not providing what they need. I don't have the environment in my home for a fern, and I'm not willing to put the effort into creating that environment. So ferns are on my do not buy list. Now I have a caveat. I have 2 Boston ferns that are really doing quite well. They live in my bathroom, and they are getting the maximum humidity that my house can provide. And I really like how they look in the bathroom. It gives a really cool, jungly look in there. So Boston fern, I'll probably always have one of those in my home, but I'm not going to buy any other kind of fern. Plant number 5 on my list of plants not to buy is a palm. You see palms everywhere, especially those big, beautiful Majesty palms. They're very inexpensive and available anywhere. The reason that they are so inexpensive and available everywhere is they're kind of disposable. Most people have a very challenging time keeping a palm alive for more than a few months. They're quite demanding. They do not like a home environment. And so yes, they make a dramatic show, but I'm really not into buying plants temporarily. So palms are on my off list. Now again, one more time, I have a caveat. I have recommended on this channel parlor palm, the Chamiadora elegans. I think it's a beautiful plant. It has been really low maintenance and easy for me. It's sitting in a room with a north-facing window, and it's probably 3 or 4 feet away from that window. It's thriving. It's doing really well. It's growing well, a lot of new growth, and I would definitely recommend this plant. But in general, palms are on my do not buy list. I have a house full of plants that I absolutely adore. I have a long list of plants that I would love to add to my collection, but I'm always going to be honest with you. There are some plants that just aren't made for me. So that's what today's video was all about, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my planty content. As always, my dear plant friends, let's keep growing together a greener world.